I've come into the greenhouse this morning, not for tomato picking, but actually to do something with this wood here. I've just spent the last few minutes rearranging a bit, and they're really heavy. They're nearly 5 meters long, these are. But the pile just kept tumbling down into the centre walkway. I got my foot trapped at one point. I'm going to be doing some staining and varnishing, or starting to stain and varnish these floorboards. It's raining today, so I can't do this outside, and the greenhouse is the only thing long enough, well, it's where they're stored, but it's the only place long enough to be able to work and to lay them out flat. This is going to take quite a long time and in small batches, but they're not going down today, so that's the main thing, so I can at least get started. So what I'm doing is, because we have a lot of water in Orkney, water is a problem. Water gets in everywhere. So what we're doing is putting a single coat of varnish on the back of the tongue and groove wood before it goes in place, and that'll be both the floorboards and the tongue groove that goes on the walls and the ceiling. So if any damp does get onto the boards, instead of seeping into the boards and staining them, it'll just sit on the varnish and then dry off and what have you. I know it seems like a really, it's like one of those things. If you leave it, if you seal it, the water can't get in the wood, but then the water has to find somewhere to go. But if you don't seal it, the water will get into the wood and it'll soak it up, but then over time it's going to stain it and create rot. So this is the only solution that we could kind of come up with. It's not going great. I've just spent an hour and a half staining 2 coats of stain on full boards out of 30, and I haven't done any of the varnishing. So we're gonna go do plan B from tomorrow, and the weather's supposed to be a bit better, so we can get outside and just stain the tongues in case of expansion, varnish the backs, and then do all the staining and varnishing once the floor is down. Because it's just too difficult to work in the greenhouse for a start, and yeah, we're just gonna stain it and varnish it all in one. Meanwhile, my hands are covered in stain. It's not going to focus because I'm just trying to try and focus on my face, but this stain is not going to come off for days because I don't like working with gloves on, so I just get stained. Like when I used to dye yarn, I always had like blue or purple fingers. Couple of days and I'll just paint my nails a colour and you won't be able to see it anymore. I've just been doing a bit of editing, Vlogtober editing, and some knitting, because I like to knit something simple whilst I'm editing. Sometimes it can be a bit strange, like watching yourself on screen talking. You do get used to it, but doing something else at the same time does help. So I'm just having a cup of tea now. It's still a little bit hot because I've just made it, and my video is exporting at the moment, which the term never makes any sense to me. Exporting to me sounds more like uploading, like it should mean uploading, but exporting just means saving. So why isn't it just called saving? I don't know. So it's doing that, and it takes a little while. So I am just doing a little bit more knitting and drinking my cup of tea. I think this afternoon I'm going to pull together the ingredients to make some ramen for tea, and I use the term ramen loosely because it's become one of those dishes where I just kind of throw together with whatever I have lying around in the fridge. So I think I've got some sprouting broccoli, mushrooms, spring onion, ginger and garlic, chili oil, coconut milk, veggie stock, noodles. Can't think what else I want to put in there yet. Must remember to boil some eggs to go in there, if I can be bothered, to be perfectly honest. Otherwise it doesn't really matter because we still have plum crumble that we can have afterwards. So I don't have to worry too much about boiling eggs if I can't be bothered. And whatever else I can think of to throw in there as well. Like it says, it's kind of a use it up dish, unless I'm following a specific recipe, which is not that often. When I first started making ramen, it was okay, but it was a bit too rich for us. Oh, and mustn't forget the soy sauce and sesame oil and all those bits and pieces. It's getting everything together like in one, all together, ready out on the worktop, so I don't forget anything, because there's a good chance that I will otherwise. And we don't like our ramen it's super spicy. I once followed a recipe that had rather a lot of chili oil in it, and we were both suffering for a couple of days after that. So we have a very small amount of chili oil in our ramen. We're not really into super spicy food. But yes, I'm just going to have a bit of relaxation time for a little while. I'm not sure if I'm going to put a podcast on or a Vlogtober video on at the moment, because I'm not sure what John's going to do while he's having his cup of tea. He has been working on the back door, like we don't have a back door and a front door, so we kind of have two front doors because of the layout of the house, but the main back kind of door has needed some repair work, and it's needed some of the bottom taking off, because the new floor that's going in the sun lounge is going to be higher than the current floor. So he's been working on that all afternoon. So it depends on what he's going to do, because he's wearing filthy clothes, filthy scruffy work clothes, so I don't think he'll be coming in the living room for his cup of tea. Okay, I'm going to do a bit of this. I'm just pulling together the bits I need to make the ramen. I'm keeping it really simple. I'm not even going to boil any eggs. I am too tired, and we have pudding for afterwards anyway. So I've got sprouting broccoli and mushrooms, and I'm going to put in garlic, lazy ginger, because ginger always goes bad in my fridge. It just stays in there too long. Gochujang, coconut milk. I buy the light coconut milk specifically for making ramen, because the full, well, this actually has a lot of coconut in it anyway. It has, how much has it got? 30% coconut, so it's not too bad. The full fat coconut milk, the thicker stuff, it would be too rich for just 2 people for ramen. So rather than have half a tin of coconut milk not hanging around, I have frozen it before. I usually keep regular coconut milk for making curries and stuff, and then I have the light coconut milk for making ramen. Sesame oil, soy sauce, chili oil, noodles, and so on. And for my stock base, I like to use a mixture of stock cubes depending on what my mood is, but I usually use mostly the low salt vegetable stock, because I want the flavour rather than it being overly salty. And then I can add either one of these if I think it needs it, which it probably will actually, looking at my ingredients, or maybe some of the marigold powder, or I also have the Suma vegetable stock powder as well. They all taste very different, so I like to keep a variety depending on what I fancy. So I'll taste it later on and then decide if it needs any of this. And then I've just got some vinegar and sugar to add a pinch of each at the end. Oh, and I really need to get those spring onions out of the fridge and chop those up to go on at the end as well. Just keeping it really easy, because I am super tired.